Hi, my name is Christine Vick, and I'm doing my Culture Meets Cultural presentation on the Chinese. Chinese culture is one of the oldest in the world. Their culture includes traditions, arts, language, religion, and symbols. Ancient marriage customs have a long history of over 5,000 years, which have changed over time due to different social ethics and standards from one dynasty to another. However, they also have their own unique characteristics and rituals which have been carried forward to the present and still exert a far-reaching influence on later generations. The 5 stages are the primitive group marriage stage, consanguineous marriage stage, extremist marriage stage, antithetic marriage stage, and the monogamy marriage stage. China boasts one of the world's greatest cuisines. Chinese food is famous all over the world. China can be divided into several regions with distinct styles of cooking. The ingredients used are based on natural and agricultural products of each region. The main features of China's regional cuisines are as follows. The northern part of China eats salty, simple food with less vegetables and wheat as a staple food. The western part of China eats hearty food with lamb as the main meat. The central part of China eats spicy food with lots of seasoning. The eastern part of China eats food that is sweet and light. And the southern part of China eats food that is sour. Chinese architecture is a rich part of Chinese culture. The buildings are made of wood, which makes them flexible. There is also a unique design only found in China named Dagong, which is a system of brackets inserted between the top of a column and a crossbeam. The Dagong is one of the most important characters in ancient Chinese architecture. The ancient Chinese architectures are greatly praised for their elegant profile and varied structure. Architects in ancient China pay special attention to the ornaments. They use different colors or paintings according to the particular need or local customs. Some buildings use multiple colors to make strong contrasts, while others often use softened color to make it simple but elegant. Besides the stress on the colors, ancient buildings attach the same weight on decorations, furnishings inside, and ornament outside. Carved beams, painted rafters, various patterns, inscribed boards, couplets hanging on the pillars, and wall paintings are used to add to the colorful and beautiful style. Stone lions, screen walls, and ornamental columns, as well as flowers, are used outside the building to make the ornaments. Chinese music is one of the oldest and most highly developed of all known musical systems. It includes many genres such as opera, folk music, and orchestral music, and has been growing and changing for over 6,000 years. Some of the instruments that the Chinese use are the 2-stringed violin, bamboo flute, hand drum, small gong, moon guitar, mouth organ, brass bowl gong, 3-stringed lute, and temple blocks. China is also very influential for their performing arts, such as the Chinese Kung Fu, Chinese folk dance, Chinese traditional music, Chinese acrobatics, Beijing opera, Chinese shadow, and the Chinese puppet plays. The Chinese are very influential with their art that can be seen throughout the world. Some arts and crafts that originated in China and are now seen throughout the world are Chinese silk, knots, embroidery, lanterns, kites, paper cutting, and paper umbrellas. The Chinese are also very influential for their ancient porcelain, paintings, and Chinese seals. The Chinese calligraphy is also a very important part of the Chinese art, which you'll hear about later in this presentation. Chinese is reckoned to be the most difficult language in the world to learn, but that also makes it the most interesting. It's the world's only remaining pictography language in common use, with thousands of characters making up the written language. Its pronunciation is generally 1 syllable per character in 1 to 5 tones. China's rich literacy culture includes many sayings and beautiful poems. They are rich in symbolism and many have stories behind them. Chinese characters are especially beautiful when pinned with a brush in a traditional way. Chinese calligraphy is a highly regarded art form. China has many languages, the most famous being Mandarin, which is China's national language, and Cantonese, spoken in southeast China. There are many dialects and minority languages in China. The first known Chinese migration into Texas was in 1870 when 300 laborers were brought to build a railroad in Dallas from California. After the railroad was finished, many of them settled along the route. Another large group of Chinese laborers entered Texas and El Paso to help finish the Southern Pacific Line Railroad. They settled in Texas once their work was done. You don't see many of the Chinese culture brought to Texas at this point in time, since most of their families still lived in China. The next influx of Chinese settled in San Antonio when they helped American troops during the invasion of Mexico. The final wave of immigration came during 1948 to 1949 when the communists were taking over in China. These Chinese Texans settled and established small stores. Most of the children were well educated, so they were able to find jobs as teachers, college professors, doctors, architects, chemists, and engineers. Chinese Texans still surround themselves with the symbols of their ancient culture. They are able to read these calligraphy scrolls with ease. The Chinese writers of imperial times still play an important part of the present-day Chinese culture here in Texas. Many Chinese celebrations are slightly modified here in Texas, but can still be witnessed today. One tradition is the Red Egg Party, which celebrates the first cutting of a month-old baby's hair. The red egg is then rolled over the baby's head to ensure good luck. The color red also symbolizes happiness and good fortune. Another Chinese celebration that is slightly modified here in Texas is the traditional Chinese weddings. Although the Chinese ditched their costumes for white wedding dresses, they still engrave the invitations on red paper with gold lettering. The bride is also still dressed with the Chinese jewelry, and formal acknowledgement of the wedding is still done by the parents of the groom. The dragon has been a very important part of Chinese celebrations for thousands of years. Texan cities with large Chinese populations have dragon parades to celebrate the Lunar New Year. Men walk through streets carrying paper mache and cloth dragons over their heads. A ball attached to a rope is dangled or swung in front of the dragon and is worn by dancers. The dragon tries to catch the ball, but never quite does. This ball represents the sun, since dragons often seek the sun as a source of brilliance. Houston ranks among the top 5 cities in the United States in number of people of Chinese descent, with more than 5,000 individuals. Each year, this number increases with more people coming from Hong Kong and Formosa. Although Houston does not have a Chinatown, you can still see many parts of the cultural heritage of China represented here in Texas. Most people don't remember that firecrackers are a popular Chinese contribution to life in the United States.